This is a momentous moment for Dignity USA. We're here to mark 40 years of ministry, education, advocacy, and liberating Catholic theology by and on behalf of gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender Catholics, our families, our friends, and our allies. During this convention, we will celebrate a rich history as an organization, a movement, and a community of faith. We'll look back on what we've accomplished during these 4 decades. We will also look ahead, envisioning what that promised land looks like for us, and laying the groundwork for how we might get there. I think it's going to be an amazing experience, and I'm thrilled that each one of you is here.
I first walked into a Dignity liturgy on Easter Sunday, 1978. I haven't been the same since. The music, the singing was absolutely magnificent. Everybody sang. It was very, very moving to me. And when he finished, I ran to my car and sat in my car and wept for about 20 minutes. Part of it was the emotion of having found a place where, you know, I sort of like felt very connected to God, but also connected to other people.
I think for me the most significant convention moment I can remember was in 1987 in Miami, when we came up with what's become known as the Bal Harbour Statement. And that was the moment when Dignity publicly stated that we believe we can have physically intimate sexual relationships that are loving, life-giving, and life-affirming. And I think folks kind of got to the place of, you know, we have nothing left to lose. Our church leaders are saying that, you know, who we are is disordered and intrinsically evil, just horrible things. And for us to take that stance of saying our loving relationships are good, are holy, are just as valid as any straight couples was an incredibly empowering moment. And I think that was such a turning point for Dignity and for all the people who were part of that decision to say, yes, it's time to claim the holiness of our sexual lives.
Our God dwells within us. And the only way we can become one with that God is to become one with our authentic self. Now, if that's a gay or lesbian self, it's by accepting and living out your gay or lesbian reality is your only route to oneness with God.
I looked up the word dignity in the dictionary about 15 minutes ago online because I was imagining Father Pat Nydorf back in 1969 when he put an ad in the papers in the Los Angeles area inviting gay and lesbian Catholics who needed support to meet. And there are 4 definitions for it, but the one that struck me was having inherent nobility and worth. And I think that has exactly been the message of this organization from the get-go.
We're engaged in a business that can be disheartening. We're trying to change an institution that is very, very resistant to change and has become more so. And that can be discouraging. The convention just recharges my batteries every time I come back because I reconnect with these people who are loving, who are giving, and who believe as I do and have been faithful. I think the people in Dignity are among the most faithful to their Catholic tradition because we've had every conceivable excuse to leave and abandon ship, but we've stayed, you know, with it. So it really recharges. And I think in this convention, for example, we have to think differently about where we're going from here, and I've benefited from a lot of the ideas that I've heard while here. So I'm going to leave this place informed by, in the Catholic tradition, we call it the sensus fidelum, the sense of the people. And as a leader, I think it's my job to listen. And I've been doing a lot of listening, and there's a lot of wisdom out there. So for me, I'm going to be able to leave, I think, with a lot better idea of where we need to go next.
In the patriarchal model, no human can be fully human. What do I mean by that? If you're masculine, that model demands of you, you repress everything feminine. You know, little boys don't cry, that's feminine. You know, if you're a male, you don't have feeling, you don't have sentiment, you don't have compassion, you know. You got to suppress everything feminine, then project it out on the woman, right? She in turn has to suppress everything masculine and project it out on the man. So neither of them can live a full human life in this relationship. Along come the gay and lesbian community, demanding their right to marriage. Now, we are not seeking marriage just for ourselves. This is not just civil rights. We are seeking a Christian understanding of marriage to share with all humanity. We just have to be ourselves, accept the masculine and the feminine, enter into loving relationships, and then model out the fullness of that love.
40 years ago, no one could have imagined that we would gather today in such good company. Polls show that same-sex love is of minimal concern to most young Catholics, who accept it along with iPods and the internet as just how life is. That does give me hope, but neither can we rest, because simple acceptance of us is not enough when it comes to love and justice. Our Catholic faith demands a great deal more than simply making the way safe for us. It compels us to make the road wider and more accessible for all.
I think the first thing that we are doing is being very humble and realize that we don't have the answers to everything. We are learning, and we are in the next year or so going to be putting a lot of emphasis into truly trying to understand the needs of those communities which we haven't served yet, at least not to the extent that we would like.
I think that Dignity USA is at a very important crossroads. I think we are really operating right now at that intersection of church movement and social justice movement. And I think what the next 10 years for us are about are finding ways to bring our religious lives, our civic lives, our political lives, our justice struggle all together, and to bring other people into that movement and to help them find their voices, to help them find their place, to help them find the spiritual nurturance that will allow them to just continue that work for equality. And I think that's one of the most significant things that we can be about over the next 10 years is, continuing to build people up spiritually, while at the same time working for full equality.